Hi guys, my name is Jamila Williams,
I'm Melissa Williams.
My name is Colin Renville.
and today we are going to be answering our question, which is, what impact does poverty hold on future generations? And then our key terms and definitions are impact, the force exerted by a new idea, concept, technology, or ideology. Poverty, the state or condition of having little or no money, goods, or means of support, a condition of being poor. And generations, a single step in natural descent as of human beings, animals, or plants.
Privatizing the reservation. According to the title and author, poverty has a huge impact on future generations, but privatizing the reservation is no answer for this either. Privatizing the reservation basically turns your private property into your own land. Some say it could reduce poverty, but I don't think so, and here's why. If families are struggling financially and they consider selling their land back to the state, that land is gone forever in most cases. This means kids won't have anywhere to live, which gives them fewer opportunities for growth, and without a home, it becomes harder for them to access good schooling, secure jobs, and even starting businesses. Another issue is sovereignty. Land that is held collectively under tribal systems give tribes power over decisions, governance, and community development. Privatization could weaken this, leaving future generations with less control over their future, and we can't forget about the cultural impact. Land isn't just about money, it carries traditions, language, and spirituality. Losing land could disconnect younger generations from their heritage, which is, if not just as bad as poverty. Some alternatives to this are creating new housing and finance programs that would help support families on the reservation while keeping the land within the tribe. Supporting these programs could help future generations escape the cycles of poverty by protecting the land and culture.
Thank you.
The speech in which I am referencing is called Persistent Poverty on Indian Reservations, New Perspectives and Responses, which was given by Nerea Kocher Lakota, whose expertise is credited by working as the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. And just for context, this speech was given in 2015. So as an audience, I would ask that you listen and see if within these past 10 years you have seen any notable differences within your own communities to take action against these economic issues. Now, this speech at its base explores the impoverishment of resources from outside factors that contribute to the idea of self-reliance within Indian country, which is simply a wordy way of putting that the resources, or lack thereof, contribute to the pragmatic actions that natives on the reservations, specifically, must put forth to simply survive. It is no surprise to anyone listening that the impoverishment we as a race have had and continue to have suffered at the hands of those on the governing level see little to no improvement. And Kocher Lakota highlights this within his speech by discussing per capita as a means of battling such impoverishment, but simultaneously it's simply not enough. Hell, it hadn't started reaching 10,000 a year until, for most, until Census 2000, and it was still below the threshold. Moving further, I want to highlight a sentence that stuck with me. It was when Kocher Lakota had stated, even now, poverty rates on reservations are nearly triple the national rate, and over 40% of children on reservations live in poverty. This article in itself showcases results of generational traumas and learned behaviors that riddle our communities and no doubt will affect our future generations through impoverishment, leading to faults such as addictions, faulty careers, and inability to battle the bad with the weight of the good. The entire article isn't spewing horrors and pities. Kocher Lakota does a good job at how we as nations can implicate anti-poverty regimens through outsourcing resources, housing. But, you know, you guys are all welcome to read about that.
Thank you.
According to Whitney Learn, the poverty in Indian countries is influenced by the system of federal Indian policy that affects American Indian self-determination within reservations and boundaries. The result indicates that rates of female households and opportunity structures such as lack of work contribute to higher rates of reservation poverty while gaming acts as first-line buffer against poverty. Native American Indian countries focus on the intersection of environmental issues, race, and development. The American Communities Survey's 5 years data set in 2006 to 2010. The first annulus examines the determinations of American Indian poverty rates at the county level within 48 states. The second structure analysis occurs at the level of federal American Indian reservation and trust lands, and in the last analysis, American Indian poverty rates in the urban countries are analyzed, including side-by-side examination of poverty rates of other racial groups. And I think there is a critical need for more wide data to understand how and whether tribal governments can successfully adapt federal policies to certain reservations and conditions.
Okay, thanks. So we first heard about privatizing and reducing poverty and the argument for that it may weaken it, the cultural impact of that, and the whole legacy of Native Americans with oil, with soil, with earth and land, because there's Native Americans were the first ones here and they know the land. And then Mila had a speech, and it was about 10 years old, but self-reliance, survival, no improvement, the per caps, it's still not enough. It's 3 times worse than any other group, and 40% of Native American kids, according to that speech from 2015, are in poverty. And then Alyssa mentioned it's the influence of the federal Indian policies. That's why poverty exists. It's because of policies, and that there's lack of work, economic development. Now, some solutions, did you hear anything? Alyssa had a couple different studies there at the end that were on different levels. Pardon?
Enforcing the policies.
Yep, enforcing the policies. Because you can say you have a policy, but if you're not doing it, then it doesn't matter. But solutions could be more housing, more finance, more land for the tribes, environmental issues, which it's happening right now. And then Alyssa mentioned the county level, federal level, and then the urban levels and the urban counties where natives exist. And to study specifically those different levels where they're located and find out about poverty, their income, et cetera, so. It's a never-ending topic, but it needs improvement. And recent studies may show how the casinos have influenced with monies and the oils and the other energies, okay? So it doesn't mean it's not there. Poverty is still there, so. Good. Any other questions from the audience? Good job.